I've noticed recently that you seem to really have made the jump, and made the decision to come to faith.
Mhm.
And that wasn't always the case. And I started realizing it little by little, watching some of your videos and reading your blogs and stuff. And I think and it was becoming more and more. I was, believing it, because a lot of people, they'll talk about faith and this and that, but they really haven't made the decision and started living it out. Um,
Yeah.
but it became more and more obvious that this was really becoming real, and I think it really hit me when you opened our Bible study praying, and not only was I really impressed, but I think Uncle Charles and Steve made comments about it too. That this is really real.
Mm.
And it's been, obviously for mom and me, it's been a really, just a really pleasing thing to see, this because, not all I think all parents cannot really, um, feel confident that all their kids are gonna come to faith.
Yeah.
It's an individual decision, and we've, certainly been praying about it. We think we did, right, going to church, and I'll talk about that in the church and growing up phase. Um, I have regrets, but, uh, so anyway, that was kind of the thing, and I've been wanting to talk with you about it, that I've noticed this, and, how did it happen? What brought you along? And so I just kind of hear your story, and I thought maybe we should do an interview, a video interview about it. And so that's kind of
There's a
where it
couple
was.
things there actually, you know, yeah, it's hard to unpack it all. The 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 Bible groups, the Bible studies that you have hosted with my 2 uncles and a couple other more friends of yours, right? Or I guess what's Andy's a cousin? Is Andy
Yeah,
yeah.
and he's an in-law.
I've been going to them, for a few years now, probably, however
Years, yeah.
long. Yeah, and I there was a time where I was just present, and I'm still not really doing a study ahead of time, and maybe that's something that comes along as other things settle, right? I'm doing my own study on my own, and adding that to it is difficult, but uh, I almost I almost was just a body in the room, so to speak. I know we do it virtually, but I wasn't necessarily present until, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago or something like that, where, like, eh and I mean present where I was able to go back and forth, and that's something that I feel has changed a little bit for me.
Mm.
Maybe it's just that I've been more active reading the Bible and going, we're going to church every single Sunday now, health, you know, uh, health withstanding, and so I that's something that I'm getting a lot of value out of. The content side of things is interesting. You and I have had a conversation about the feeling like you're using the Lord's name as a tool almost, because, like, oh, people want to hear that you're a person of faith. And I never have wanted to do that, even though I was walking, I was on my own journey there. And going back 6 months when I really started on started really being active on social media, and he was saying, "Hey, you gotta talk about what you're doing." And it felt weird at first because I didn't feel like I really was putting him first, and I still don't feel like I'm putting him first. Let's just
You're not alone there.
yeah,
It's constant struggle.
yeah. And
Yeah.
you said the using the Lord's name in vain, and flip that on its head for me a little bit, is that I always thought it was, God damn. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's using the Lord, and that is one aspect of it, but it's also using the Lord's name in your vanity. And so that was interesting. Uh, yeah, I don't know. Do you want me to just tell you?
Yeah.
So we grew up, which I don't really remember much of my childhood, let alone really time in the Marine Corps. Like that was half a lifetime ago at this point. Once you get once you get kids, that becomes pretty a blur too. And you're just like kind of seeing them grow and going, wait, you see a picture. Man, I can't believe you're 4 now. You were just a baby. But
Yeah.
there's certain little things that I very well remember. And there was one high school church excursion, camping trip where I gave my life to Jesus with a couple other people, and I can kind of remember that like I don't know if you ever heard the story where, and I'll maybe butcher it a little bit, but there's footsteps and there's two sets of footsteps,
Oh
and they're
yeah.
like, they're like walking along, and then eventually it looks like there's chaos, but it's like, no, that's when we danced. And I remember thinking about that, like, I just want to dance with you. And then it wasn't long after that I was sitting in our high school core group at Geneva Presbyterian Church, and we were doing a communion inside the core group or inside the high school group. And just, this isn't right. Like something was just off. It felt fake. It didn't feel real. It didn't feel like I belonged there. I guess I kind of never really felt like I belonged anywhere anyway, but um, and I just said, I can't do the communion. And from there on, I kind of felt a little like disconnected. And it was pretty late in senior year, if I recall. Again, I don't remember the details super well, but um, then just kind of got lost to the world in a sense. Joined Saddleback Community College, was not doing well in school. I was going partying, right? And then ultimately come home one night, make a mess of my bedroom. We'll just say that. And then the next day had a sit down with you and mom. And I think it was the day after that, the Marine Corps recruiter called. And I saw, did you have anything to do with that?
With no.
Okay. I didn't think
You're
so. I never actually specifically asked. Hey, you need to call my son. He needs to join the Marines. Because I didn't, I don't,
yeah,
I
yeah,
think,
yeah.
yeah, me joining the Marines was kind of a surprise. But uh,
Yeah.
I thought that
Interesting.
there was something about the Marines that I thought was going to lead me back. And it didn't. If anything, maybe it led me further away because I saw the world. I saw everything that the world kind of had. Not everything, but I saw a lot.
Sure.
Just getting out of Southern California for like really the first time, meeting a lot of people that were from all over
From
the.
all different parts of the country and different
Mhm.
customs and
Yep,
traditions. Yeah, sure.
and like and being in that, late teenage, 18, 19, 20, 21, where you're in the Marine Corps and you've been trained to be and feel invincible. We did a lot of stupid stuff, and not necessarily stuff that's like the most, not have drug abuse and everything, like just a lot of stupid stuff. And it makes you feel like the world is amazing. It's just a fun
Right.
place to be a part of.
Mhm.
And I didn't really. It's interesting. I was thinking about this the other day. Is I got this tattoo, which is upside down on the camera, but it is a cross, as you know,
Uh-huh.
and it's almost like I I was holding on, you
You were
know,
holding on.
yeah. And I
Yes.
this is the last bastion. Like this is the last defense. This is the last line of defense right now. Hold on.
Yeah.
And and you have a kid, and kind of like you were saying, you want your kid to be saved, and that there was like that little thing inside, and then you have your second kid, and I don't want to say it wasn't until Hope came along, my 1-year-old daughter, that it really changed, but it was just little things along the way that he was just going to,
Mm,
I've never
yeah,
left, dude. I'm still here. And we talked
yeah,
about this recently when we moved to South Carolina in 2018. We moved into this house whose best friend is our neighbor. And this lady who we bought the house from was at the closing, obviously, for this house. And her best friend, the neighbor, was at the closing for the house. And it was a week before Thanksgiving. And we had just traveled across the country. We weren't going back to be with our family. They said, come be with our family, and essentially took us in as son and daughter. And if it wasn't for the Huttos, I don't, we probably wouldn't be where we are right now in our faith.
yeah,
And yeah. And so I guess, long story. I mean, that's a long story.
yeah. Wow. Okay. But I guess just for some clarity, we, I grew up in the Armenian church, came
Yeah.
to faith when I was 19. Um, my testimony is called from acceptance to surrender. I accepted at 19. I
Mm,
realize now that I didn't really live like it for 25 years until I was 50 or so. I hit a life low, and that took me to surrender. So I feel like I've been surrendered for almost 20 years now.
yeah.
And then mom was raised in the Armenian Presbyterian church. It was all Armenian. Mine was in Armenian. It was Orthodox, Apostolic, Orthodox with the incense and all that, but it was all in Armenian. Hers was a Presbyterian church. And so when we got married and you guys came along, we decided that we were going to go to the Geneva Presbyterian Church. And that's where we raised you guys.
Yeah.
So just to give some context to what your background was. So we went to the Presbyterian church, and I feel a little bit of regret in that, and I say a little bit because God had the timing all along. It was His plan all along. He brought Mama and I together, and that's another story. But is the right girl for me. I don't think I would have come to this place, you know,
Yeah.
if it wasn't for her. So, I feel a little regret that I wasn't surrendered when you guys were, growing up, you and your sister growing up. Um, I think it would have been a lot different, but that wasn't the journey it was supposed to take,
Yeah.
and I'm okay with that. But there was a little bit of regret. I wish I was surrendered back then. So, one thing I wanted to ask
Okay,
is
before
now
you
look.
ask this, actually, because I think that our journeys are very similar in some senses, like, the thought, the regret of not being surrendered occurred to me. I think you may have seen a video that I did a few months ago about it, where I was coming home in the car and singing a song that was like one of those last bastions as well. Uh,
Hmm.
I can only imagine. It was a song that I heard multiple times while I was in boot camp in the Marine Corps. And really, I went to Sunday service in the Marine Corps because it was like the one time every week where the drill instructors didn't have control of you. And that was just like a little seed that he planted.
Hmm.
Pretty crazy that like 20
Yeah.
years go by, and plus 20 plus years. When
Yeah.
did I join the Marine Corps? Not quite 20 plus. Yeah, 20 plus years.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah,
you would
2003. Yeah,
19,
20,
20.
22 years. And I'm coming
Yeah.
home, I'm singing the song and like getting teary eyed. And then I get in the driveway, and he told me, just, open up your phone, record a video, and I'm recording the video, and I just have this moment of regret that the past 20 years have been a waste. Think of all I could have done with you. Think of all that we could have done together if I had been with you this whole time. And
Hmm.
he was like, dude, you were like, basically, you were ready. It's not a waste. You had to go through all of that to, and there's so many little points along the way that, like, one little change, you don't meet Brittany, right? You don't go to, you don't get home from the Marine Corps, right? You don't make it home. And you don't get this job. You don't lose that job. You don't decide to go to school. You don't decide to take this specific class where Brittany sits in your seat, and you meet Brittany. And that, like, you had to do all that in order to get to
Right.
this point. So, like, yes, regret, but also that's the
Yeah.
journey that we take. And
Yeah.
I had the thought prior to making this walk, Faith, because you've, for lack of a better word, pestered me over the years about it. Uh, yeah, I can't find a better word at the moment.
About faith.
About, like, coming to Christ,
Oh
and
yeah.
like, I'm on this journey on my own. No matter
Right.
how much you want it, like, I gotta go through the journey.
Yeah.
And it, I didn't think of it at that moment when I was kind of crying in the car. I had to go through all that stuff, and he
Sure.
reminded you, like, and
Yeah.
I have, maybe getting a little bit ahead, or off topic in a sense, but, like, I haven't heard him speak a whole lot to me. That was one.
Yeah.
Dude, I've been here. I've been there the whole time. Look at this. And it was just
Yeah.
like a timeline. So, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was one of the questions I had, now looking back. Um, and I don't want to get into the whole the topic of election, being called by God, being chosen. I
Yeah.
believe that's all true. Hard to really get my head around it. And I think it comes with a tremendous responsibility. But it makes sense when I think and I look back at the stupid things I did,
Mhm.
that he was always there, and
Yeah.
he was always leading me and calling me. And it sounds I was going to ask you about that, but it sounds like you feel the
There's
same way.
Yeah, I may have had this thought prior, but it just comes to me now, is that it's almost like I did all that stuff just knowing, like, it makes you sad in a sense, like, I got it in my back pocket. If something happens, I know where I'm going. And
And are you saying that was a good way to be about it?
no,
No. Okay.
yeah, no,
Rather than taking it out of your pocket and implementing it and
yeah,
living.
yeah, and,
Yeah. Yeah.
there, like, it's I think we talked about this maybe a year ago, and I forget what the terminologies were. They were like, you're either chosen. There was two schools of thought, that you're either chosen, or you have to earn it. Is that ringing a bell? The two.
Well, yeah, there's one where God predestines it on his own, and there's
Mhm,
nothing you can do about it. And he sets things up in place for you to come to that decision. Or the other
yeah,
is he looks down the history, the annals of history, and sees and knows that you are going to make that choice. It was
yeah.
your choice. And then he works with you. And again,
We have no
it
idea.
yeah, you
Yeah,
got to choose. It comes down to,
yeah,
you got to choose. And really, I want to springboard and leverage that. The really one of the reasons for this that I was interested in is to post it on my channel. Um, just for other people who are kind of going through the same thing and maybe can relate to it and maybe haven't come to faith yet, they
Mhm.
can hear that, this is how it happened for me and this is how it happened for you. Maybe as an encouragement for them. Well, gosh, this is happening for me too. And, so this is my walk and my journey. So as an,
Yeah.
kind of an evangelism tool.
Yeah.
So, there was a couple, instances that I remember along the way. One of them happened after I had come to surrender. So it has to be, uh, you were still at home. I'm not sure when it was, but it was in the dining room, it was in the dining room table. We were sitting there, and I came to the understanding that I wanted to do God's will. I didn't want to put him in my back pocket anymore.
Mhm.
I wanted to take him out and I wanted to do what his will was for me. And I related that as being a puppet and where God is the puppeteer and I'm doing, and you didn't like that.
No.
Do you remember that?
No, but
You said
I
something to the effect, if that's what it is, I don't want any part of it.
okay.
And
I
I
was
remembered that because it wasn't a very good way to illustrate what I was trying to,
mm,
illustrate.
I would say the same thing now.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was that one. Then when you said I've been badgering you, I guess I have brought it up a while, but I don't think I ever badgered you. I don't think I badger anybody about it. I do
No,
instigate
yeah.
conversations about it, though.
Yeah. Like,
You know,
there was a time that I can remember where I think I specifically said, like, "I don't wanna hear it anymore," kind of.
yeah,
And again, I don't know how, but, like, and bad, like, pester, I think it's that's not the right word, but it
yeah.
just kept trying to bring it back. Like,
Kept bringing up the
yeah,
topic. Yeah.
yeah.
Then the other one was I think it was 2 years ago. We were on our no, it was we were all together. It was either on a family vacation or the time we came out just with and you and Brittany and the kids and us took a day trip or whatever. We were in the car and you brought up it was a question though. You
Mhm.
brought it up. I think it was about you remember what it was?
I have no idea. I
Shoot.
have so many questions.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It may have been about predestination or something. And I didn't know. I didn't, I
Mm,
don't know all the answers. But that was another instance of where I realized you were at least thinking about it and willing to talk about it.
yeah.
And so I don't know what relevance that has, but those are just a couple times that
I think since Brittany and I have gotten married, it has been a little bit more prevalent and just kind of growing in that regard because it's an element of conjoinedness. And especially with, I don't want to get into her family, I guess. Yeah. Um, we've aligned on a lot of things. And that wasn't something that we were really aligned on, is the faith side of things.
mm,
And I think I just said it this morning to her, is that, like, since we've introduced him into the marriage, our marriage is different,
mm,
and we still have a very long way to go. She wasn't
mhm.
she's like, if I'm an infant, like, she's a newborn, right? And I'm an infant as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm an infant,
yeah,
and she's a newborn, and so it's been cool to see him working in that way. I know that's not exactly what we were talking about, but yeah,
yeah. No, that's like people to hear that.
yeah.
Because it does make it. I mean, that's what happened with me. When I went through what I went through, what we went through, came back Christ was now he was a foundation, and has
Mhm.
been ever since of our marriage and our life. And now, when I mean, she still irritates me from.
It's living with another human.
I never irritate her.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
really good.
yeah. That's not what I've heard.
But, our responses have changed, not
Mhm.
altogether. I mean, we're still in our flesh. We're always gonna be in our flesh, but, it's growing. It's a growing thing, and I have a different perspective now on how to, husband her, how to love her, how to respond to her,
Mm.
and she me,
Yeah.
But, it's a whole difference when, when you decide to put Jesus first, both in your life and in your marriage, it's totally different. So, I guess, what questions, what do you still struggle with now,
Yeah.
um, with it? What
Yeah, everything I've
Yeah,
shared this podcast.
you think about it, well, I'll tell you what I mean, this because there's so many things that are hard to explain,
Mhm.
and life is not you know, you hear it all the time about, Christians that, it's not that your life is perfect, and I said it before, there's a tremendous responsibility that comes along with living a life worthy of the call you have received. That phrase from Ephesians is just really
Yeah.
rung
Yeah.
with me. Living a life worthy of the call you have received. I take that really seriously, but there's still, questions that, and one of the biggest ones is, when in Acts, Jesus was taken up from them.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, what did that look like?
Yeah.
He was actually they were there, and there he goes. It,
Yeah, he just started levitating up.
wh-
Yeah.
I don't understand. I mean,
Yeah.
how can that? But I believe it. I mean,
Yeah.
somehow it happened.
I like to think of it as no, I'm just kidding. A UFO, and there's a beam of light. No.
Yeah, I don't know. There's
You
still
know,
questions.
some of the questions that I have are less like that. They're more uh we're in a financial tight situation right now, given the couple properties that we have. We're real estate investors, as you know, and we have some properties that are not selling, and so it's putting a strain on our finances. And this is the first time in a as long as I can remember, where I felt a little bit of financial strain. And I've had some conversations with him, pretty one-sided. He's talking, where, I'm trying to trust you, but money money makes us feel secure. And there's something that Pastor CT said, our pastor at Victory Baptist Church in North Augusta, shout out, uh, security only comes from one place. And it's tough to wrap your head around that when you're looking at bills that need to be paid and you're looking at the bank accounts dwindling and you go, where's this money going to come from? And I'm going to get to some of the questions. Like, that's one thing that I'm struggling with still. The questions that I have
Okay,
is,
sure.
when we get back on the right track, and we'll be fine. I trust that. Things will get figured out. But when that gets back going, when the coaching business is up and running and at full capacity, am I going to be giving him credit, or is it going to be, look what I did?
Right.
That's something that I struggle with.
Right.
And it's funny that you mentioned this is one that, and I don't have it memorized yet, but it's James 1:12, I think it is. Blessed are those who persevere through trial, for having stood the test will receive the crown of life the Lord has promised to those who love him. And I'm in a trial right now.
Right.
We got the businesses that are, the coaching business is not taken off. Takes time. The real estate is tumultuous. I think that's a good word at the moment. And I have gut issues that I'm working through, health issues that I'm working through. We have our kids that are constantly, you just want to hit them. I'm not that bad, but we have a almost 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 1-year-old, and they're kids,
Yeah.
and they're sinful by nature, unknowingly to them,
Right.
and you're constantly going, "Give me guidance, give me patience, give me presence, give me
Hmm.
love, give me
Right.
empathy," and so that's trials, and
Yeah.
you just feel he's he's taken me from this place of not looking at him, and now he's testing me to make sure that I'm going to continue to look at him.
Mm. Mm.
And I heard on this podcast, I've shared it with you and the Brotherhood before, the leader's cut is that, you know, can he trust you? And that was one of the questions. Like, hey, when I make big moves in your life, is it going to be about you or is it going to be about me? And so I'm only going to give you a little nugget first. Okay, was it okay? It was about me, or it was about me. Okay, here's a bigger nugget, and the bigger nugget comes with more difficulty. Okay, it was about me again. Okay, here's a slightly bigger nugget. Oh, you made it about you. I can't give you the next nugget.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
rabbit
Right
hole.
on.
Yeah. So those are
No,
like
that's
the
good.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we've talked about it before. Is that there's 8 billion people on this planet. I still struggle with that he created 8 billion people and 7 billion of them are not making it.
Right.
And maybe even more than that, right? Because there's a lot of people that even inside the church that you go to, and on Sunday they're woo, and Monday
Yeah.
through Saturday they're not woo.
Right.
They're not
Or
reading, they're not praying, they're not walking
he's
the
in their
walk.
he's in their back pocket.
Yeah, he's in their back pocket,
Yeah.
and
If
that
they're even.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
They're back. Yeah.
But
That's the great.
ultimately, and otherwise, they're good people. Like they're good people. They're just not
Yeah.
they're just not looking up and looking at him all the time. And there's a sense
Yeah.
that I'm that good person. I'm that too. And I'm fighting it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You said during the working through the times with the kids and this and that, and give me patience or give me it's interesting that those are all the fruits of the spirit,
Yeah.
you know, um that you can call on: self-control, patience, gentleness.
Yeah.
Those are the attributes of righteousness that we're pursuing, and those are all tests and ways for us to implement those things in a
Mhm.
real way, you know?
Yeah.
So, um, I just have one more question and that is, what made it real for you? What say,
I
yeah,
don't have an answer.
I
Yeah.
it's hard to say.
Yeah. I don't really, I mean, it's just, I guess the kind of like you said, and it's just a slow burn, but he doesn't belong in your back pocket. He belongs right in front of your face. And only until then can you start doing the good things that you're meant to be.
Mhm.
So like and there's a story. I want to say it's David Goggins that says it. I don't know if you're familiar with David Goggins, but
Oh,
when
the
this
name.
time when this he's a fitness guy, like made a huge transformation. He's this just go hard all the time guy, a amazing guy for a lot of people. um he tells the story, and again, I think it's him, but like when his time on this earth is done, he wants to stand before God, and or he's going to stand before God, and there's this man standing next to him, and the man that's standing next to him is everything that God had set for him to achieve. He's this just Greek god of a sculpted body. He's accomplished all the things that God wanted him to accomplish, and he wants to make sure that when he stands before God, that's what he looks like.
Mm.
He's not some, some slob of a person that just, never looked up and never did what God was calling him to do, all those things. He he uses it a little bit more in a worldly view, in my opinion. I know that there's something he's working on me. And he's been working for 20, my whole life. He
Well,
needed me
yeah.
to go, he needed me to
You
go
put
all
this
through that stuff.
moment in context with all those other moments along the years,
Hmm.
and you're in this moment, and you're gonna look back and say, yeah,
Yeah.
the
And I don't
same
know,
thing.
like, I still have
That
no
gives great
idea. Yeah. I have no idea. But like,
yeah.
there's pieces of me that says I'm supposed to help out veterans. There's pieces like I'm supposed to help out dads, like all these little things. And there's an element of my, we talked about the I forget what you called it with Clay the other day, his character that was he was given. There's an element of that I am able to converse and relate with a lot of different people in a lot of different walks of life because I've been through a lot of different things in my life. And I don't know, maybe that's just an example, but maybe that's a piece of the puzzle that he's been molding me into. Like,
Mhm.
hey, I needed you to meet the guy who has an 80 IQ, but can just turn a wrench real bad and get to know him, turn a wrench really well. But I also needed you to meet the guy who has an 160 IQ and can look at a stock chart and know if you buy on Tuesday, you're going to do real well and have a conversation with him.
Mhm.
Okay, I got off track a little bit. Okay, so yeah, that I think that was one element. There's the element of the spouse relationship, right? She's the most important person in my life here, and I want to make sure that she's saved, and she can't be saved if I'm not leading the charge, right? I'm supposed to.
Mm.
We talked about protecting God's woman. She's
Mhm.
his daughter. This just was a revelation to me the other night.
Mm.
She's his
Yeah.
daughter, right? And so protecting her physically, but emotionally and spiritually. And if I'm not
Mhm.
right, how am I supposed to do that? And
Right.
then, as you're
Right.
saying, uh, I want to make sure that the kids, I want to give them the best shot as well to being
Right.
safe. And so
Yeah.
I got to keep all those things and probably more if I really sat down and thought about it. That's everything that's kind of just been working over the last couple years. You
Yeah.
know, the Huttos, the Huttos being a big part of it. Tony and Michelle Hutto. Um, I think the Bible study, just even just coming in there and being a part of the group, even though sometimes I had other tabs open and I was checking emails and doing things like that. I was
And
listening. Yeah, well, I
I
mean, yeah, I had
I
that
was
video on. It wasn't.
glad you were there. I
Yeah,
was glad you were there
yeah,
rather
and
than not.
yeah, and so like all those things work on you. And
Uh-huh.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
not
Well,
wondering.
we I think I love this. I could go on for, for a long time, but I think
Mhm.
that kind of covers it.
Yeah,
So,
I
we're just so pleased. And just if you've already said their name, I wasn't going to. I wasn't sure if you wanted me to, but Tony and Michelle, your neighbors,
yeah,
I shared this, the other day with you when you moved to Carolina. And we've been praying for you, and so if there's anybody, watching this that has kids or whatever that you want to pray for, just continue to pray for them that they'll either read something, scripture will make itself known to them, or God will put them in a situation, bring a situation into their life, or as in this case, bring somebody or people into their lives.
mhm,
And when you move to them, and as soon as you told us about Michelle and Tony, how about it go? Yeah,
yeah,
they're just they're real. They're the real deal.
hmm,
And when we heard about them, we say, God, it's just so good that they're in their lives, and so they've been really good for you guys, and we've just been so pleased with that, and thank God for that. So, all right. So anyway, unless you have a question for me, that's all I got.
No, I don't have any. I don't have any questions. I just that you did say something early on or earlier that is. I think it's important for a lot of people that whether you grew up in the church and lost your way, like like we both did, or you've never had a relationship, he's still there.
Hmm.
There's an element of predestination, like we were talking about. I forget what the heck the language you used. There were two words for it. One was a familiar word,
Oh,
but
is elect or chosen or drawn?
yeah, it wasn't. No,
No.
yeah, but whatever. The
Yeah.
like, I kind of believe that he shows everybody. It's up to us to find him though, and he's there. He's putting pieces in place. He's giving us signals, which is one of the issues I have. But I think that that's covered by like, hey, if you've never heard him, then you're kind of saved. If you never heard of him, like you have to be brought to the gospel to be able to make a decision. But like he's there,
Yeah.
and he wants you to be a part of his kingdom, and yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Do
Yeah.
you, yeah, was something that goes along with that. Uh, every these Romans 1, everybody knows God exists without excuse.
Mm.
We know it through creation, which is common sense for me. Nothing's created from nothing.
Yeah.
It's all there in his design. And we know it through our conscience. He's put right and wrong. He's put his law in our heart. We all know it.
Yeah.
And so everybody knows it without excuse. The reason some people can't find him is for the same reason a thief can't find a policeman. He doesn't want to,
Yeah.
lest his deeds will be brought into light. So I think that's the biggest reason that people avoid him. What is obvious to them is because they don't want and there's many passages about this. I won't go into them now, but Jesus talked to people about sin and repentance. That's what he talked to people about. And that's why they hated him, because
Yeah.
I tell them that their deeds are sinful.
Mm.
That's why they hated him.
Yeah.
So
One of the reasons.
I don't know. Well, yeah, I don't know what brought that up. So.
Yeah. But man, I had a good thought on that. The there was something else that I remember saying to you at one point, that it doesn't matter what we prove on earth here. I mean, I could probably hear somebody in the comments saying something, but it doesn't matter what we prove on earth here. There's nothing that you can do to disprove God.
To
Because you
do what?
mentioned the creation, nothing comes from nothing. And somebody would say, well, the Big Bang, yeah, well, that was God just went, okay, bang.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
No matter what we do scientifically to say, okay, evolution. Okay, yeah, he created evolution. Okay, he created the Big Bang. I don't know what the new like scientific topics are. If Earth is flat. Yeah, he made it flat.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Not flat. Just yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
The moon landing was a fake. That was on that one.
I have my yeses about that.